So this year's Baja 500 was amazing, horrible, super competitive, until it wasn't. So the start of the race for me is usually very calm. I don't get very nervous, but I was very excited because this race is kind of in our hometown. I mean, ultimately, we started and kind of cut our teeth in Baja, and we know the course, we know the area, we know the people, and most of the course we had seen even before we pre-ran this. So we were excited to get started and kind of show what we were capable of doing.
Hot dudes on the move!
Copy that. Go, go, go!
So our game plan before the race was to survive the first 30 miles and then start with our normal pace throughout the rest of the race. That changed very quickly because in the first 10 miles we had to get around a 6100 truck that was stuck in the course, and then when we went around that truck off the course, we must have picked up a rock, a branch, or a bush or something that ripped a brake line off the car because we lost all rear brakes. So unfortunately our race plans changed like that, with no rear brakes, running on the front brakes only for the whole race.
God damn it, no brakes. We check the brakes here in a second. Turning off the rears. We got somebody on us now. Yeah, they do. Give them the acknowledgement, okay? I'm going to call Chapo.
Hear me, there is a bottleneck at after BCP4. The bottleneck after BCP4.
Copy that.
So at race mile 18 to 20, there was a roadblock or stuck trucks trying to get up a very silty hill climb. We kind of knew this was going to happen because of our pre-run. Having seen that section, we knew it was going to get torn up. We knew it was going to be a choke point in the race. When we came around the corner and kind of saw everything that was backed up, we were already stuck in it. There was a roadblock, or at least a backup.
Hey, Chase Trucks, just a heads up. We are stopped at a bottleneck right now, just past race mile 15. Looks like people are starting to go through, but we haven't moved yet.
There was probably 85 to 100 vehicles already in this thing in a log jam, and we just kind of filed into the back and held our spot. But one of the things that we noticed right away is where we came to a stop, we were up on the top of a mountain in a big valley, and we could see all of the other stuck vehicles ahead of us. And people that were in front of us started jumping off this cliff and just mobbing it straight down the bottom of this cliff to try and get ahead of the roadblock. Murray, Carver, a couple other UTVs just jumped it and went for it. And honestly, when they went down there, we thought they were gonna roll it off a couple of boulders and cliffs and things like that, but somehow they made it. Everybody else kind of stood their ground and figured it was safer, at least we thought it was safer, just to wait. But if you looked up on the mountain on the other side of the valley, you could see a couple of UTVs trying to climb over the mountain, and it was Chapo racing and it was Corey Sappington. And we were communicating with Chapo the whole time on the radio. They were trying to tell us, hey, take this spot, but we're watching them go, and we're like, there's no way that they're making it over this mountain. It literally is an untrafficked goat trail that no one's ever seen.
That's Ernesto behind Corey. Oh, is he behind Corey? Looks like it. Because somebody's up the hill too. It looks like I can see him way up there.
We're getting down the hill, and we're gonna go backwards to BCP5. It looks like we're making it out of the valley. We are heading south, and looks good so far. Just head
after we survived the roadblock and survived the first 30 miles, we kind of picked up the pace and hit our first pit stop at the road crossing of roughly race mile 75. So when we pitted, the guys gave us a check over, did a mileage check, and kind of let us know that we were 7th on course. Well, we were blown away because we had started 26th and we hadn't passed 20 other cars. So we were amazed and happy and figured that we would just kind of run our pace for the rest of the race and see where we ended up. At race mile 120, 180, 220, the crew kept telling us that we were knocking people down and we were at 3rd place when we went to Borrego at roughly race mile 225. So we knew we were competitive. We knew if we kind of kept this pace, even though we didn't have rear brakes, that we would be able to finish possibly on the podium.
Hey, Chase 2, we are done with the pit at Borrego and we are back on course.
How you doing there, Jeff?
I'm doing good.
Awesome.
Yep. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Just upset I can't do more with the car, you know.
Well, you're doing a great job with what we've got.
Thank you. Trying.
As always, Jeff is the calm voice in the car. If I'm driving over my head or driving slow, he is always the middle of the road, kind of keeps us steady so our pace is always consistent.
Gotta love the enthusiasm down here.
Oh, man, right? How many cars are actually ahead of us in our class?
There are 3 cars ahead of you in your class.
Great.
Once we crossed over to Mike's Sky Ranch, El Coyote, and onto the West Coast, we found out that we were first on course. So our goal at that point was to try and maintain that, kind of protect that spot without pushing the car very hard. We got passed by 2 people while we were fueling the car at race mile 340, so we knew we were in 3rd place. It started to get dark on the West Coast. We slowed down a little bit and kind of maintained our 3rd place spot and kind of duked it out with Craig Scanlon multiple times, which were very clean passes, both directions, and had a great time racing Craig. Everything was going great until it wasn't. And for us, when it wasn't, was 15 miles from the finish of this race in 3rd place. We completely stripped the teeth and splines out of the rear drive flange and didn't have a spare. So unfortunately, we were in a tough spot in that first 30-mile section that everybody was very worried about. We were in that last 30 miles, same portion, running it backwards, stuck 15 miles from the end. It took our crew 2.5 hours to get us the parts. After we fixed the car and continued, we ended up finishing the race in 11th place. A finish in our book is number 1. No matter what, we're going to do that. If we can finish in the top 10, even better. If we can finish on the podium, amazing. And someday, we really hope for a win. But right now, with the problems that we had in this race and the roughness from start to finish in this race, we will absolutely take a finish in 11th place all day long.
dialed in. The shock therapy shocks are making this the whoops feel like pavement.
What's going on? What just happened?
We're outside of Ojos. We had, he said there's something wrong with the back brakes, but we looked at it, it's all brand new. We're gonna try them again with the proportioning valve.
Allegedly, at 187, we're in third. That's what the information from the sky tells me.
Body.
Did I tell you about the secret recipe? Oh, well, me and Mike have a secret recipe we got from Raul Sanders. And basically, it's how to make culo con queso. And you use hot tub water and a various series of techniques that are unavailable to tell. And we make the finest filtered culo con queso in Ensenada. Oh, it's simple. It's butt cheese. You know what else would be really neat? An umbrella. A couple of senoritas. Margaritas. Gotta go.